Hi, everyone. This is Dave Warner with Small Town Life, and we're on the Studio 25 podcast network, and today I've got a returning guest. It's Michael Flores, who is a filmmaker. He's done quite a few things, and we're going to talk to him about his latest awards that he's gotten, and it's going to be kind of cool, I think, right?
Yeah.
So welcome. You'll do your best, right? You have coffee, you're good to go, right?
I do. I'm good.
So anyway, tell me a little bit about, just so we can set the stage here, your background, kind of, where you are in the area, and then how you got into filmmaking, because I want to hear that story as well.
Okay. When people ask me where I'm from, I usually tell them Earth, because I'm an Air Force brat and I lived everywhere.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Really?
Did you mention that to me before?
I don't know. Maybe I didn't.
I don't think you did.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, we lived on average, we moved every 2.5 years.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, we were everywhere. So I lived all over the place. And you're a kid. You find somebody your size and you say, hey,
yeah,
let's play.
yeah, go play. You don't care, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, my kids are Air Force brats.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, I bet you didn't know that, right?
I didn't.
You didn't, yeah.
I knew that you were...
21 years in the Air Force. But
I didn't know you were in the Air Force.
In fact, I was talking to one of those brats this morning.
Were you doing aircraft controlling in the Air Force?
Air traffic control in the Air Force, yeah.
Man, yeah. I knew you were an aircraft controller, but I didn't know you were in the Air Force.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't talk about that.
We didn't talk about that. It's new stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, so you moved all around and...
Mm-hmm. I originally got into filmmaking by way of acting.
As a child actor. No, just kidding.
Honestly, I started with plays.
Really?
Yeah, I did
cool.
theater, and then eventually got into commercials and then films as well. I can actually speak on when I actually transitioned to behind the camera. I was 17 or 18 years old, and I was taking part in a talent competition. It was very much like Star Search. I'm really showing my age right now. So kids nowadays don't know what Star Search is.
Star Search.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Give them 3.25 stars.
No, when did that run anyway? Because I don't remember that.
Star Search was in the 80s. I think it went all the way to the early 90s. It had to have.
Okay, all right.
I remember watching it was Bill Bellamy or Martin Lawrence on Star Search. I think it was Martin Lawrence on Star Search.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he lost to a little girl who sang.
Oh, jeez. Martin Lawrence lost something?
Yeah. Be looking up those clips.
Yeah, I will.
Sorry, Martin. But it was this whole competition. It took place in Los Angeles. And they had several different categories, and one of them was a filmmaking category. And I had never done any. I as a kid played with cameras and stuff like that before. I was a bit of a gearhead, constantly fixing TVs and VCRs and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
We got to talk more about that off camera, because it kind of sounds like me. I built. They had way back. Now I'm going to go back before your 80s, but they had the Heath kits.
Yeah.
And I built my parents a color TV, the console kit.
That's
that they had.
amazing.
Remember that? And they had shortwave radios and scanners way back and all that stuff. So I was tinkering with the same kind of stuff, and then cameras as well. Had cameras in my hand.
Yeah, I built a shortwave radio when I was 10 or something like that. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I
must have been a Heath kit.
It might have been. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway,
it was something my dad had acquired somewhere.
Right.
And I was like, "What is this? I'm putting it together."
Yeah. Oh.
I had my own little radio show. It was actually on an old VCR that had a microphone on it.
Really?
And I had to take it apart because it didn't work anymore, but I put it all back together and I made it work, and I did all my audio through the microphone, and you could just record audio onto a VHS tape.
Right.
Yeah.
How old were you when you did that?
I must have been 11 or 12.
Okay. All right.
I learned later that a lot of filmmakers did that because it was actually pretty good audio for the time.
Oh.
It's a good way to get good audio.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
On a VCR, good audio.
Yeah,
I didn't know those went together.
Well, you could do ADR that way. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So that was pretty neat.
Yeah. So,
so
how'd you get into that? So you jumped from just doing kind of when you say a radio show, that didn't go anywhere, did it? It was in the house. All right.
We did all. Yeah. I did stuff like that all the time.
Yeah.
In fact, we did I remember we did a talk show, and the camera we used was my friend Josh's older brother Andy had stolen a security camera from a garage. just took it, like ripped it out, and for some reason, it had a microphone on it. Like security cameras didn't typically have
No,
microphones.
not back then.
No, it was just like a steel casing, almost like a fuselage.
Looked like a shotgun mic, or
That's what. Yeah, the mic itself was like a shotgun.
Okay.
Mic. Yeah, it was like a little tiny round mic. In the end, it was like telescopic too, so
That's
you could
cool.
adjust it.
Yeah.
But the camera itself, it was just like this steel case, and it had the lens on there, and we had to open that up and rewire it, and because he ripped it off. So like,
we
I shouldn't have used names.
yeah, we had to hide the evidence, and so we had to take it apart and disguise it. Is what you're saying? Yeah. Okay.
No,
All right. Got it.
Statute of limitations. I can talk about all this. So
You're not that old. Hear the knock on the door. The cops are here.
This was ages ago. But we figured out how to wire it into the VCR, but we couldn't go anywhere with it. So we couldn't do all the fun things that we wanted to do, like outside and stuff. So that's why we did a talk show. It's because we could plug it into the VCR,
Right.
arrange the furniture how we wanted to, and then we did a silly little talk show with sketches and everything.
That is actually, I think that's cool. I
Yeah.
mean, that's imaginative, right?
Yeah, I think that's where I kind of learned to utilize my boundaries and make them positives. So for this, the competition that I was in, I was in like the acting. I started out as an actor,
Right.
And so like I was in the acting competition. I had like this monologue. I did a stand-up routine. It was like a stand-up competition, and then like I said, they had this. There was something else I can't remember, but I decided I was going to try the filmmaking thing, and you had like 2 weeks to put something together, and I didn't have a camera. I borrowed everything.
Oh yeah, you did. You had that stolen one, right? You could have brought the VCR to school, and they brought the camera. And
I was like,
I'm set up. I'm ready to go.
I want to say I was like 12 or 13 when we had that camera. So, but this one we had like. I just happened to have a friend. It's actually the same family. Josh's older brother, Vinny. My friend Vinny lent me his
It's
camera.
a criminal enterprise. Yeah, okay. All right, got it. Vinny. Has to be.
Yeah. He's actually, I did a short film using that same camera, and I accredited him as Vincenzo.
Vincenzo.
So yeah, I used his camera. I used his computer. I didn't have anything. I was poor. And I entered the competition, and I won by default because nobody else entered.
Because maybe they were searching for equipment and stuff, and it was too hard.
I think that's what it
locate.
was. There was one other entry, and his media was unusable. Whatever he recorded on,
Okay.
They couldn't watch it. So I won by default. I did all this again on a VHS tape. That's showing my age again.
But that's really cool.
It was.
You were
It was
able
a lot
to.
of fun.
That's inventive, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can actually. I think that video that I made might be online. You can look it up. I don't know. I don't think it's set to private, but it's on YouTube somewhere. It's called "Man, Have I Got a Story for You."
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna have to dig for that.
Yeah.
Man, have I got a story for you? I will be looking for it. See if I can get some of the clips and insert them here. That would embarrass you.
It's very silly.
No, I'm in.
You're gonna see a very young Michael Flores.
There's a YouTube video of me on there from, I want to say 1994. Just after I'd gotten out of the Air Force. But I went to a company that did air traffic control simulation systems. And so we were simulating what I was doing in the Air Force. And there's actually a video of that floating around out there.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah,
I gotta look that up.
I think it's David E. Warner on My Little Falls. And then I've got some old clips on there. And that one's on there.
This is why you're so easygoing now, is because you had that insanely stressful job before, so everything else
I thought it was
is gonna
fun.
be cake for you.
You see, what you also don't know is originally I was a cop.
Oh my gosh!
There was a kid just here that was talking to me.
We're switching roles now. Now I'm the interviewer.
Yeah, you can interview.
Yeah.
And so that's not what I was supposed to be. I was actually going in to be airborne warning and control because I wanted something aviation related.
Oh, so you were an MP?
Well, that's not what they were called in the Air Force. SPs, security
SPs,
police.
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And so
That's what I meant
by
to say.
accident, I ended up out at basic, went to security police school, and then we were sitting there ready to graduate. These guys came in and they said, "We need dog handlers." and anybody who signs up, I already had my orders going to Incirlik, Turkey.
I lived in Incirlik.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Jeez, this is less. Doo, doo, doo.
Yeah,
I wish I had the sound effects going. And anyway, I thought, okay, I don't really want to go there. So by the time the clipboard gets to the back of the room, I'm a W, so I'm in the back.
Right.
I see one other volunteer on there, and it was the guy that was going to Incirlik with me.
Yeah.
I said, if he ain't going, I'm not going.
Yeah.
And I signed up. So I went to dog handler school. And, of course, that's the first job I had for 4 years was security police and then dog handler. And then one tour in Southeast Asia. And then I was like, you know what? And I went in there to grow up. Get more mature, and I found out that most of the people in there were more immature than I was. And so I was like, and it was boring. It was 90% boredom, 10% action. And I wanted 90% action, 10% boredom.
Well, you got it.
And that's why I switched to air traffic control.
I'll say.
Yeah.
Gosh. Man.
All right, keep going with your
So
interview.
you never actually went to Incirlik, though?
No.
Well, you missed out. It's beautiful.
You liked it?
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think at the time it was probably...
What year was it? You said 94?
See, no. That's 94 was when I was doing the air traffic control simulation. So Incirlik would have been 70.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I'm
okay,
that
so
old.
yeah, it was a different time. I was
it was a
there-
different time.
I want to say 91. I was there.
Okay, all right. Well, more
This was
modern.
during the Gulf War.
Yeah. Well, but see, back then it was the Cold War.
Yeah, right.
So Incirlik, Turkey was a hot spot. Russia, all that other stuff like that. So yeah, it was a different time, and I just didn't really. So yeah, go to Vietnam
Makes sense.
instead.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh Lord.
Who would have thunk?
Good grief.
Yeah. So anyway, back to your story.
Sure.
Since we digressed.
So yeah, that's when I started filmmaking. I eventually did some more shorts. Went to film school, and then just said yes to everything, whatever it was. Yes. What do you need me to do? I'll do it.
Right.
And I think that's honestly the secret. If kids ask me, like, how do you get into the industry? Whatever they ask you to do, do it.
Right.
And that's what I did. Because not only does it show that you are willing and eager, but it also makes you more adaptable, which, I credit being an Air Force brat to that. They say we're the most adaptable adults.
Right.
And because we are, you go all over the world, you have to adapt to different cultures.
You do.
We didn't always live on Air Force bases, so we had to be ingrained with whatever society we were in. I was actually, when I was a kid, I had a British accent because that was the first place we lived was in England. Yeah.
Can you play that just at will? Like turn that on?
It was very posh. My mom makes fun of me. She always says, because apparently I used to love feeding ducks, so my favorite thing to ask was, "Mummy, can we go down to the pond and feed the duckies?"
Oh God!
I don't know why it was so posh, but it was.
that sounds pretty posh, actually. I like it. Oh God, that's good.
Do we have any spare bread?
Any pudding? Oh yeah, good. So yeah, continue.
So
I did have one question about the kids. You say when kids ask you, are kids today asking about this industry? Are they interested? Are they asking those questions about what does it take to get into this?
They are. They have different routes to take nowadays. Anybody who tells you that they know the way to get into the industry is either lying or trying to sell you something. And I wish I knew the answers. I wish I knew someone who did. But there are none. There really aren't. It's changing. I've listened to like executives and producers talk about trying to predict the future of this industry, and it's I'd say a year ago it was changing on a monthly basis. I feel like now it's changing on a weekly or almost like a every other day basis. It's just constantly in flux, and nobody has any answers. I mean, Paramount just shut their doors.
Yeah, I saw that. That was, we were on a call the other night, and Jason Montgomery was mentioning that, and it's mind-numbing that a whole studio like that shuts down.
Well, I mean, I don't want to say I saw the writing on the wall. I don't want
Right.
it claimed to be that omnipotent, omnipresent.
Omnipotent works. Yeah.
But it's been kind of trending toward that for a while. I mean, I even like, as you know, I'm a teacher, and my students, I could ask them about like who's their favorite actor. They couldn't give me an answer, but they can tell me who their favorite YouTuber is.
That's kind of amazing. So you think the shift is actually moving to those kinds of platforms as opposed to our,
in a way.
I mean, everybody knows it's moving away from network,
Yeah.
right? That's kind of a no-brainer, but then you had the streaming services like a Paramount or Disney or whomever. And so it's moving away to the more established platforms, maybe?
I think it's going to become, and I'm thankful for this.
Right.
It's going to be hard, but I think it's going to transition to more of a boutique kind of studio service, something that I've been trying to establish in the first place. But it's going to be more of a DIY kind of thing, likened to being an influencer, where you're doing your own thing from the ground up. Like you're just making your own product to sell rather than going through a studio. And that might even include not even going through a distributor any longer, or an aggregate of any kind, just simply putting it out there in the same way that an influencer does.
Right.
Just putting it out for people to see. There is, I forget the guy's name. I stumbled across this guy on YouTube. He has a film, and the film is more or less the product that he's using at this point. So he's using his film he's using his film to promote his YouTube channel rather than his YouTube channel to promote his film.
Oh, that's interesting.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense, but that's weird to think of.
It is. You got to flip your brain.
Right. I'm sitting here thinking, okay, how is that working? But yeah,
so
I can see
basically,
that.
with a monetized YouTube channel, he can put out content like behind the scenes stuff or featurettes and talk about his movie, and do that in parts rather than like, a full length featurette.
Right.
It could be part 1, part 2, etc. And he collects advertising revenue from each of those videos.
That's
talking
interesting.
about the thing that he wants you to see. So rather than trying to drive people to the thing that you made, which has always been our goal, right?
Right.
As filmmakers, he's using the film to drive people to the YouTube channel instead.
To expand that and increase the revenue there. Of course, I'm not sure that they're given that much, dollar-wise. I mean, I know I'm one of those people that as soon as the damn ad starts, no matter how much I want to listen to the person, I'm hitting skip.
Of course.
Right away.
Yeah.
And I don't think they get paid for that.
I mean, they got to be making something for some
Something
people
somewhere,
that want to do
yeah.
it.
I mean, you see where some of them are going now to, like you have to watch a 15-second commercial or you have to watch a 30-second commercial before they don't give you a chance to skip.
Yeah.
I'm seeing that more and more on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe he's in that line. I don't know. That's really, I'm sitting here thinking about this.
That's the thing. So you can't play the game of like, well, that's not what it's supposed to be. And so many people are trying to do that. When COVID hit, it changed everything. I don't think COVID is responsible for it. I think COVID just poured gasoline on the fire.
Right. Accelerated it.
Yeah. So, and people they don't want to face that change, and they're fighting really hard against it to keep things the way they are. And I can even admit to being one of those people. Like,
right.
The dream for me is to put my film into a movie theater and have people watch it. But like, people aren't really going to theaters anymore. I mean, I think it's there's been an upswing as of late.
I think so. I mean, I look at the theater here in Little Falls, and it seems brisk. I haven't asked them about, how's your traffic, but it seems like they're getting good traffic there.
But the problem is, I mean, Disney owns the theaters. Yeah. Look at the last 2 months.
Not this one.
Every movie that has been in a movie theater has been produced by Disney in some capacity, either Fox, Disney, or whatever studio that Disney owns. You can't beat them, buy them.
Right.
So the theaters have just become Disney plus. But so yeah, I want that's my goal. That's what I want to do. But there's no room for me. There's no room for the guy with the rabbit ears and pulling his pockets out.
Yeah. So you ended up getting into film,
Yeah,
whatever. So
I
now
kinda
let's
strayed off,
let's-
yeah.
No,
So
that's
I-
all right. This like is really interesting to me. Nobody else probably listened to it, but I'm interested in it because it gets a lot of ideas going in my head. But
Yeah.
so get me into like your first real film that you did.
My
What would you
my
call
first
it?
real film.
Real,
What was my first like real? I mean, I worked
not the
on stuff-
VCR version.
Yeah. I worked on a lot of movies. As far as like being in the driver's seat, though,
Driver's seat. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Well, my first big film that I played the lead in was a film called Germ Z, and that's actually streaming in some areas on Netflix right now. It's on Tubi. It's on Freevee, I think. Whatever that Amazon one is.
Did you keep track of that?
No, my mom does.
Your mom is always looking.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He's on Netflix.
That's the only reason I know is because she sent me a text the other day. It's
Oh,
like,
jeez.
Mijo, here it is.
That's good.
But yeah, I guess that was my first big production for sure. And then from there, again, I've worked in art department, electrical. I've been a lighting tech, a grip. And like I said, whatever they ask of you, what job's available?
Yeah.
I can do that, even if you can't. No,
You
don't
just-
don't
you
say
just-
you can't. You
no.
need to have some kind of knowledge before going in. Don't. Yeah.
It's funny. I was reading some book where they were saying, I know all that stuff. And they were like, you really don't know that stuff, do
No.
you, once you get into it? Yeah.
Thank God for smartphones, because what I would do is like fresh out of film school, and they're throwing, like, I got my first job as like a lighting tech, and they're throwing out terms at me, and I learned really quickly that
Google.
I was Googling stuff on the way back to the truck. You got it, boss. Look it up on the back of the truck. Like, what is it? What is that?
Yeah.
Combo stand.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Gobo, what's that?
Yeah.
Looking up stuff. But I also learned that the crews have different terms for things on either side of the country as well.
Really?
Yes. When I was working in Los Angeles, and then I came up here and I was hearing terms thrown around, I thought it was universal. It's, at least in America.
Right.
And then I get over here and people are throwing terms at me, and it's like I'm back to just graduating again. Like, what the hell did he just ask for?
I'm looking it up. What is that? Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
That's cool.
But it gets you the experience.
Right.
So being adaptable, jumping into whatever role I could, whether it be actor, writer, lighting tech, art department, set dressing, anything at all. Just even being just a PA, you go around to each department and just, do you need help? What can I do for you?
And PA is what? Personal assistant?
Production assistant.
Production assistant.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So
I was close.
You were close, yeah.
I'm going. Okay, what is that again?
I even helped casting extras in a bunch of films as well. So, like, learning all of those departments gave me the ability and the confidence to say, I can do this myself now. I can do my own production because I know what everybody else does.
Right.
Not only can I work multiple positions and save money that way, but I can understand and have a better idea of what everybody else is doing, and I can help them be better.
Right.
Because filmmaking is a team sport. You're only as strong as your weakest link. Yeah. So I can help them be better at what they're doing, or I can sniff out when somebody's trying to, pull the wool over my eyes. Which
when they're Googling what you want them to do.
Not necessarily that.
Come on.
No, I'm always about education.
Yeah.
So if somebody doesn't know anything, I'm not going to be mad at them. I'm
Right.
going to help them become better and more knowledgeable at what they're doing. But I mean that in I'll use a specific instance where, say I'm working with an editor in post-production, and he gives me one quote, and then a week later gives me a different one. I'm done. We're not working together anymore, because I know from experience now that in another week, you're going to give me a different quote. And then by that time, you've already done so much work, I don't want to turn to anybody else. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see. So it's almost like a shell game.
Exactly.
Because I'm into this so far. You can't cut me loose.
3-card money. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So that's what it is. So understanding, what goes into that position it just helps you elevate everyone else. And when you're working multiple positions, other people are willing to do the same sometimes, unless they're, it all depends. But that's how we shot Sendero.
Okay. And so, see, what a transition.
See,
I was just, you knew I was going to that, right? All right. So let's talk about that. But that's a big time thing, right? So
it is. That's big for me.
Tell me about Sendero.
So Sendero is a film that I wrote, directed, produced, and starred in. It's hard to say that part.
Yeah.
The funny thing is when we were editing it, and all of my editors said this, is that because when I would talk about the scenes, I would always say, well, I like when he did this. I was referring to myself. But it was my way of compartmentalizing my director
Your
brain.
role.
And my role as a director. So I could be non-biased.
Okay.
I was looking at someone else. I wasn't looking at myself.
Right. And you were able to critique that person.
Exactly.
In what they did or how they looked or how the scene looked.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And they would all say, I like how you say him. I was like, I have to do it that way. We have to. This movie can't be all Michael.
I don't like how that guy looks sometimes. I put on a couple pounds there. I don't know what to do about that.
It did happen in those reshoots.
Yeah.
Those pants were a little tight in those reshoots.
Yeah. We got the Batman suit there. We showed you earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. But we were only able to do that because I hired and worked with people that I love. And people that I really, really wanted to work with. And those people also had the same passion that I did, especially toward the project. And they came on willing and knowing that they weren't doing just their jobs. We were a crew of 6 people at most at any given time. It was like 6 of us, and we were all doing multiple things. I was even making lunch and dinner for people. I was acting, directing, being my own first
Chef.
AD, and then making food. Yeah.
Well, that's too much. I mean, for that project, what would typical crew size have been? If, budget wasn't an issue.
If budget wasn't an issue,
yeah.
I mean, that crew size could have been anywhere from like 30 to 150 people.
So
it all depends. So 6 people. That's it. So, but that took a lot of preparation beforehand. And that's what it's all about. And that right there is the one thing that I personally, I'm not saying this is ubiquitous or universal across the board, but like I personally, with a lot of young people who come to me and say, how do I get into the industry? And I say, well, this is how you make a movie. It's all this preparation. They don't want to do that.
Oh, well, I think all of us we see that, we see the end product and we go, I think of it all the time, I could do that if I only had this piece of equipment.
Yeah.
Right, I can get that look, and that's not the case.
No,
it's the preparation.
It's the carpenter.
study.
Yeah, it's not
yeah,
the tools.
Yeah. I know. I fall into that trap a lot.
Yeah, that's actually how I refer to my version of filmmaking. Is I still see it as an art form for sure, but I don't see myself as a painter. I see myself as a carpenter. I'm building a closet, or I'm handcrafting a piece of wood to be the thing that I want it to be. And there's splinters, but I'll sand it down.
Hands are hurting.
I'm gonna sand it down and make it as smooth as I can. But that's where everybody else in my team needs to be too, to understand that. And I've been extremely fortunate with the people I've been working with. I can't take credit for all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Not at all. John McGinty was my director of photography, and he was also our production designer. And Mario Restive, he ran sound, but he also did lighting. Marissa Kolb, she was our makeup girl. But on days when we didn't have enough people, I taught her how to run the mic, how to run the mixer.
How to do audio.
Yeah. And so we just had a very quick masterclass of how to run audio. It wasn't like heavy scenes. It wasn't like she was running around with a shotgun mic. It was like basically the mic's set, lavs are set, just pay attention to levels.
Okay.
And Austin Green. Austin Green was also, he did sound, he did lighting.
He's a Little Falls boy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then my wife. And my wife she became a COVID compliance officer for this movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that she could be on set and we were following the rules.
COVID, they were real strict for the film crews, right? Weren't they?
Yeah, they were. So she and I actually took the class, and so we had at any given time, a COVID compliance officer on set.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have they removed that restriction?
Yes.
Okay.
I think, it's still, they still have COVID compliance officers, but I don't think it's a necessity any longer.
Okay. All right.
I think the only union that was really keeping that in place was SAG.
Okay.
And I'm not 100% sure, but I think they've since said we're okay for now.
Okay. For the minute.
Yeah, until
monkeypox or
I was about to say that.
Yeah, I knew you were. Whatever comes next. Ooh, the next big planned pandemic. Anyway. Oh, sorry. Oh, did I say that?
Hot buttons being pressed.
There they are again at the door. Thank God we locked it. Anyway, so tell me about the movie. What's it about? And then you've won a bunch of awards for this. And tell me about the filming here in Little Falls that you did with it.
So Sendero is it's about this young couple. They go to school and become teachers at the same school together. They then adopt a tiny dog. They buy a vintage RV.
Which I see the tiny dog a lot on Facebook.
Well, how could you not? She's
How
adorable.
could you not? I know. She is, yeah.
That's my baby.
Yeah.
That's Rosie. Rosie Perez.
Yeah.
So they buy this vintage RV that they plan on fixing up to go on this epic road trip for their summer vacation together. And unfortunately, before they're able to realize that dream journey, the wife dies in a school shooting. So it focuses on a pretty heavy tragedy that not a lot of people want to talk about.
Right.
But the film's not really about that. What it's about is surviving that tragedy, surviving that loss. And so then it becomes Soul, the lead character's journey. And he goes on his own kind of personal odyssey. He sees this literal elephant in his driveway, and he says, you know what? I'm going to go on that journey we planned. And he does. And,
He's alone, except for Rosie.
Him and little Rosie. They go on the journey.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of lessons learned along the way.
Awesome. So tell me about where did you film this?
We filmed all over, but we did utilize Little Falls a lot, because Little Falls, the location itself, can be manipulated to look like virtually anywhere. So we shot scenes that were supposed to take place in the Pacific Northwest. And it was a nice dreary day in Little Falls, and pulled it off.
Like almost every other day these days.
Yeah. We drove through areas that look like the Midwest with, cornfields and stuff like that. We used the bridge here for another just kind of, everywhere America shot.
The bridge down in Canal Place or where? Oh,
whichever one that's right over, the one that we're right under.
This one. 167 bridge. All right, got it. It's like, which bridge? Yeah.
Yeah. And that actually turned out to be a really iconic shot because we had the falls in the shot and everything. It was beautiful. I don't think we did any interiors here. It was mostly just exteriors. But we went. It is because
some down on Industrial. Did you do it? Was that? Or am I thinking of another film?
We did shoot on the whatever road this is that main road that leads into Little Falls. We did some shots.
167 comes into Little Falls, which connects with the bridge here. Is that what you're thinking?
No, not the bridge. Coming from Herkimer.
Oh, okay. Route 5.
Route 5, yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
okay, all right.
I've lived here
you don't know where you are.
12 years, and I still don't know the geography.
It's like, okay, I'm like, where were you?
Toward the sun.
Yeah, towards the sun. Okay. It's west. That's west, yeah.
But yeah, we got a lot of exteriors. We went as far. It is a road movie, so It is about travel, and we went as far as we went to South Dakota. We got that far, so it was just before we were shooting. And again, this is when I wrote this film, the first thing that I did was I made a list of all the things, all the resources, locations, people, all the things that I could get either for free or next to free. And I made this big list.
Wow.
I had the RV. I had all these locations. I had my dog. I had me. I didn't have. I didn't have to pay myself.
Didn't have to pay yourself.
Exactly.
You're a free guy.
Well, for myself. Myself and friends.
Yeah.
I'll say that. But I had this big list of things, and that's kind of what started cultivating the story. And, I own the RV that's in the film. That's my RV. And so we had...
Cool looking RV.
What's that?
Cool looking RV.
Oh, I love it. I love it. It's actually the shorter version of the one from Spaceballs, the Eagle 5.
I thought it looked familiar.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. Where have I seen that before? Oh, geez.
So we had this space of time before we started production. It was approximately like 9 or 10 days where we had nothing, where I was basically just prepping and waiting for people to come in town, and then we would begin. And so I said, let's get in the RV and let's go get these travel shots. Because why are we just sitting here and waiting to do this later? We could do this now. And so my wife and I got in the RV. I borrowed Mario's, he has a Ursa Mini, which was comparable to the camera that we were using. And we just hit the road. And I would set up, because I didn't want to use like stock footage of these places. I wanted to see Sol and Rosie in those shots. And Hannah, the RV, had to be there.
Right.
So
you named the RV?
Yeah, her name's Hannah.
Her name.
Yeah.
Her and Rosie were all right. I got it.
It's Rosie and Hannah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we did. I would set up the camera. I would show my wife. She never used this camera. Never really used any camera before. And I would set it up, show her the shot that I wanted. Or sometimes, it was just on sticks, so she really didn't have to do much except hit record.
Yep.
I would, use her as my stand-in and then just elevate like 5 inches.
She's a short girl, huh? Yeah, okay.
And then, and we got these incredible shots, and we had so many willing participants that were, I didn't pay for any location at all. Just people were like, I would tell them the story, I'd tell them what we were doing, and they were all about it. Mm. And I mean, even that came with, there's a whole lot of stories just behind, that 9 days alone, I could tell you. But I know we're strapped for time, so.
That's another podcast.
Yeah.
We can do that. But no, so you did all the filming and everything else like that.
So
and then you hit the award trail.
Yeah, we did. So we finally, we shot the movie. Everybody did a little bit of everything. And we started hitting the festival circuit. And we've had some incredible... I'm not going to call it luck because we put in a lot of work.
You worked hard on that.
We have. Yeah. And we made something that I'm very proud of. And, I at this point in my life, I feel like I can look at this unbiasedly and measure this against,
other films.
Not even just other films, just, not just other I should say not other films that we're up against, but just... against the art form itself.
Okay.
Am I Steven Spielberg or Stanley Kubrick? No, not yet.
Not yet. Give me time.
Give me time and money.
Yeah.
But it's certainly our film is full of heart and it sticks with people. We have gone toe-to-toe with multi-million-dollar films, and we've come out on top. We're holding our own. We're punching well above our weight. So far, we have won 10 awards in 12 festivals.
Good Lord.
And I think that says a lot about us.
That's a phenomenal track record, don't you think?
I mean, we don't get into every festival, but, they have their own themes and agendas, and sometimes we don't fit that, and you can't take that personally. And, we're not going to get in the cans. We don't have the budget for that.
Yeah.
I tried.
So you have to pay to get into that festival?
Uh-huh. Yeah. You have to pay to virtually every festival. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've spent a lot of money on festival fees so far.
Well, what's the payout from that? What's your end goal for this film? So you've won the 10 awards, but
we're sitting in a really good place right now with all these awards and the attention that we've got so far. So the end game, I guess, is to find distribution, find a home for this film. We've had inquiries so far, but we need to find the right home for this because really it's not just about selling this movie. We are trying to build something here. Sendero is the foundation of what we're doing. So this is going to be the first sale in a long list of projects that we have ready to go, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. We're like, if somebody said, this is great. What else do you have? I can give them a full list of things and say, this is the budget I need for this one. Which one do you want to go with first? I say first because
that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, so that when you say ready to go, that means you've got a script, you've got a pilot, we've got
a script, we've got development, we've got pitch decks,
okay,
stuff like that. An outline, an idea, something that we can pitch to somebody and visually show them. Exactly, precisely. Just say, this is, the next project that we want to create. This is the theme. This is the vibe. This is the story. And that is our strong suit, is story. That's the only big gun we have,
right,
against everyone else. I can't fill a movie with car chase scenes and explosions and boobies. I mean, maybe boobies.
Okay, I was going to say I'm going to have to fight you on the last one.
But I guess I should say I don't want to.
And I was going to say I would like you to. I'd like to see that script.
But that's our strong suit, is story, and that's how we're able to elevate ourselves and come out on top of it on so many of these festivals, and just frankly stick with people. We've met so many people who stay in contact after seeing the film, and just randomly will send me an email or a text message saying, I was in the shower and I was just thinking about that scene. I was, it stuck with me.
Huh.
That's an incredible feeling.
That is.
And I will say probably the best review that we've gotten so far, and I'm going to use profanity, just a heads up.
Well, we were on the boobies. I mean,
so it was from the projectionist at one of the festivals we were in, and I'm getting ready to leave, and he's outside smoking a cigarette, and he comes over and he goes, "You made me laugh. You made me cry. I laughed again. I cried. I laughed with tears in my eyes. Fuck you." And then he walked away.
Oh, jeez. Oh, that.
Hands down, best
Hands
review.
down best. I love that. And he wasn't even paid for it.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, that's amazing. So where can people see this? Is there like a trailer or something that you've got out there?
You can go to senderomovie.com.
Okay.
You can read all about the film there. You can see more of our cast and the story itself. You can watch the trailer. And it will be available soon, one way or another. Yeah, it's going to be out in the world.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, look, Michael, it's been fun today. I appreciate you coming here.
I appreciate you having me.
Oh, no, it's been a blast. We might have follow-ons. You never know.
Yeah.
Right? You got to do more filming in Little Falls.
I will. That's something we didn't talk about.
I know. We can make that. Yeah. Do that another time.
I will be bringing more projects here for sure.
Oh, awesome. I love that. All right. Well, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is Dave Warner with Small Town Life on the Studio 25 Podcast Network. We'll see you next time.